Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're excited to bring you using LinkedIn to grow revenue. Most of us have LinkedIn profiles, but we're not leveraging LinkedIn to develop business. So I'm Nancy Haddad with U.S. Computer Connection. U.S. Computer helps area business with IT support. We exist for our client success. So today, as part of U.S. Computer's free monthly employee training webinar series, we want to help you exceed your goals. We're pleased to introduce our partner and presenter today, Bridget Gibbons, InspiriaMedia Group's Director of Digital and Inbound Marketing.
Thank you, Nancy. Hello, everyone. InspiriaMedia Group is a full-service marketing and advertising agency based in White Plains, New York. We help clients leverage digital marketing to grow their business. Today's training session is interactive, so if you have questions at any time, just click on the chat button that's at the top of your screen. Okay, so let's get started. There we go. Okay. And we just introduced ourselves. I'm going to go on to the next slide. So LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network with over 300 million registered members in 200 countries worldwide. Executive from all the Fortune 500 companies are members. 66% of LinkedIn users are decision makers, and they make decisions for their companies. The average household income is $109,000. Which is the highest of all social media sites. Just to put it in comparison, the average household income on Facebook is $50,000. So you're really looking at executives from businesses who are empowered to make decisions on LinkedIn. So before you get started on LinkedIn, you really should take a step back and make a decision about what your goals are. So what are you trying to achieve by going onto LinkedIn? Oftentimes people jump onto LinkedIn and just start posting without any strategy or thought behind it. So give some thought to what your goals are. That way you'll know if you're successful or not. So the first, a potential goal could be to drive more traffic to your website. So if that's what you want, then you would want to post articles that link back to your website. You might want to get more media attention, so you might want to position yourself as a thought leader. So post articles that really speak your voice, your position on issues within your industry. You can use LinkedIn to promote events. You can interact with professionals around the globe. So, LinkedIn is a global tool. So if you're interested in, connecting with other professionals around the globe, LinkedIn is a perfect platform for that. And you can attain advice from other folks. There are consultants on LinkedIn that would be delighted to probably receive your question and provide, guidance to you. So don't hesitate to reach out to someone to build a connection and get some advice. Today we're gonna focus on your profile, endorsements versus recommendations. I get a lot of questions about endorsements. One of the the hidden tools or advantages of LinkedIn is the advanced search. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time on that and how you can use advanced search to find leads, the advantages of groups. I'm going to show you company pages and just some other tips. Okay, so when you log into LinkedIn, for those of you that are kind of new to LinkedIn, you're going to land on this page, and this is basically your home page for LinkedIn. In the center, you have what's similar to like a Facebook newsfeed. For those of you that use Facebook, it's a kind of a flow of articles that are posted by you, by your people you're connected to, and also by companies that are paying to have their articles shown or their advertisements shown in the middle section. Over on the right, you see people you may know, and that's LinkedIn trying to be helpful and connecting you with potential people that you may want to make a LinkedIn connection with, and it uses the data in your profile, your LinkedIn profile, in order to come up with that list of people. And usually LinkedIn is pretty on target. To get to the place where you're going to want to edit your profile, you're going to look at the top menu, and you're going to click on Profile, and then LinkedIn is going to take you to your profile, and at the top is kind of really the critical area of your LinkedIn profile, and you want to make sure. I'm going to go through this in detail. But if you hover over this section, you're going to see little pencils pop up, and then you're able to make changes to your profile. So, having a complete profile is very important. LinkedIn kind of judges you based on how much data you have in your profile, and based on that, it will show you or not show you in search results for your keywords. So if you have a partially complete profile, LinkedIn is unlikely to show you, say for example, someone was searching for a digital marketing consultant, if I have a partially complete profile, LinkedIn's not going to probably put it, it may show me, but it may show me further down in the results. So you want to make sure that your profile is complete, and to have an all-star profile, you really need to have these items. You need to have a profile summary and a headshot. Don't skimp on the headshot. Have a professional headshot done. You know, taking a selfie in the living room is just not going to fly. There are plenty of camera shops around the area that will, you know, for $90 will take a nice headshot. So that's a really good investment. You want to have your current position with a description, at least 2 past positions, at least 5 skills. You want to put in your education. Even if you transferred schools, put in, you know, the freshman and sophomore school that you attended and the junior and senior school that you attended, because LinkedIn will use that information to match you up and connect you to people that you might have gone to school with. You want to have industry and postal code as part of your profile, and at least 50 connections. So if you only have 30 or so connections, LinkedIn is going to kind of not give you a very good grade until you build up those connections. Okay, professional headshot. And then right next to right below your name on your LinkedIn profile, that is your headline. And so you're going to want to fill that headline with some really valuable information. You want to talk to your potential clients or customers about the value that you bring. So LinkedIn is really all about adding value, building relationships, and expressing the value that you bring to that relationship. So you know, you're going to want to take a look. You're not going to want to say digital media consultant. You're going to want to say something like helping companies in the tri-state area leverage digital marketing to grow their business. So it's not about me. It's about the service that I provide, but it's really about what is the value that I provide to companies. So you're going to want to edit that and really give it some thought. What is your value proposition? What value do you bring? Also, within on your profile, you can see in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little, looks like a little Rolodex page. You can click on that, and that's where you're going to find your contact information. So you're going to want to make sure that at least your email address is there. I have my cell phone number there as well. And then in the lower section, you can add links. It says websites, but you can actually customize that and add, you can have your website, but you can also have a link that points to a blog. And I have a link that says get a free consultation, and that takes us to our website where people can ask for a free consultation. So don't just put your website address there. Make sure you customize this area. It's very easy to do, and then you'll get more traffic from your profile to your website. And the summary is just below your profile, and you're going to want to make sure that you really take time and think about what's going to be in your summary. So you want to have, you know, there's 2,000 characters. You want to use them all if that makes sense, but you also want to use an outline format. So you want to make bullet points so that people don't read paragraphs of information. We'd like to skim. So make sure that your summary is easily skimmable. And the content should really be who you are, whom you help, how you help, and how to get in touch with you. So make it really easy for people to read your value proposition, understand how you can help them, and then make it easy for them to get in touch with you. So here's an example. This is my summary. We help businesses build successful digital marketing strategy that will help them grow and make their business run more profitably. And then a list of services, and then a description of what is inbound marketing, because many people don't really understand what that is. And then I mentioned we're a top-tier HubSpot partner. That's one of the services that we provide. And right below that, I have my cell phone number. So adding your cell to your summary is not for everyone. For me, it works. I like having that information readily available. So not everyone's comfortable with that. So that's your call. And in your experience, you're going to want to have at least 3 recent positions. LinkedIn is looking for that. And don't just list your title and the company. Make sure that you have details on your responsibility. This will help improve your search results, meaning if you have keywords that are about the products and services that you offer, and you put them in the description of your experience, then LinkedIn knows, more precisely what it is that you bring to the table. So you're going to want not just say, director of X or manage people. You should also talk about your accomplishments. So increased revenue from X to Z. and talk, really give people a flavor of the benefits that you bring. So if you want, just all sections in LinkedIn, if you just hover over the section, you'll see little pencils pop up and you can edit that. So that's just what I mentioned. Just hover in that section and the pencils will pop up. And so this is your experience. This is the top where it says Director of Digital and Inbound is your title. And but beneath that, by default, is your company name. And I'm going to show you a little trick that will help optimize your profile and position you higher in the search results. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a minute. Okay. And just within, imagine you're on your profile and you scroll down, you get to the section where you have your experience, and then you can just click on the plus and add a position. Just a little trick. If you're making, coming out of this presentation, if you've learned a lot and you want to make changes to your profile, LinkedIn, sometimes it can be helpful by broadcasting the changes that you make to your profile to your network so that people you're connected with. But you may or may not want them to get, lots of updates if you're making lots of changes over the next 3 days. So if you decide you want to kind of redo your experience or redo your summary, you probably want to just go over here to this section and click no, do not publish any updates to my network about my profile changes. So shut it off so people don't get flooded with the changes that you're making, and then you can turn it back on if, for example, let's say you changed from one company to another, you have a new job, then you probably do want LinkedIn to send that information out. So then you would want to make sure that you have that set to yes so that everybody gets a broadcast, all your connections know about it, and then you can shut it off to just do your maintenance of your profile.
I had one question.
Okay.
So a participant would like to know if clients have, or prospective clients have actually called your cell phone number. Having your cell phone there has actually generated business.
Yes, it has. Yes,
wow.
It has. Yeah, and people often want a consultation. They want to, pick my brain about what our organization does, and then they may say, could you take a look at my website or our social presence and let us know if there's some way you can help us. So absolutely.
Sure. And then one other question from Cynthia. She's interested in learning about people to follow their company page. So will we touch on that today?
We are going to talk about company pages.
Okay, so that's coming up, Cynthia.
Yep.
Thanks.
And within your LinkedIn profile, there are other sections that you can add, and I'll give you a little example. So when you're on your profile, if you scroll down, you'll see add sections to your profile, and then you can click on view more, and it opens up this whole area where you can add additional information about yourself. So you can add if maybe you're bilingual, any volunteer experience, or any organizations that you belong to, and there's a reason to do that. So it kind of fleshes out your profile and lets people have a better idea who you are as a person, but it also gives people an opportunity to connect with you on a different level. So let's say you added in volunteer experience that you're a Boy Scout troop leader, or some other volunteering that you do. If a prospective client comes and looks at your profile and they see that, they may connect on that level. They may say, gosh, I have a son in the Boy Scouts, that's pretty cool. So it just kind of gives you one additional way to build the relationship a little bit closer to clients or potential clients. So you're going to go, you go to edit profile and then scroll down. So it should be just kind of the first section right below your summary. And in addition, if you are using LinkedIn to build relationships with potential clients on your side, you can look at their profile and then say, oh my gosh, this guy's in the Boy Scouts, I'm involved too. So when you approach that prospect, you can say, talk about business, but then say, hey, I noticed that you were in the Boy Scouts. That's very interesting. I am too. Don't you love it? And so just again, it builds that relationship on a more human level. So it can be very, very valuable. Some of these don't apply to people who are, in mid-career, maybe test scores or courses, don't make sense. But, pick the ones that do work for you and make sure you put your information in there. Skills and endorsements. So I know most of you, if you use LinkedIn regularly, you're getting asked to endorse people. Endorsements really don't hold any weight because anyone can endorse anyone for anything. So I wouldn't really spend, if you have to pick and choose what you're going to do on LinkedIn, I wouldn't focus on endorsements. Endorsements are kind of lightweight, but it isn't bad to have endorsements from other people, but I wouldn't spend time endorsing others. And you want to make sure because I did have one client, because I kind of say endorsements don't really make that much difference, but I did have a client say, I looked at your endorsements. So you don't want to have none, but don't make it a top priority. And you can also, if you're getting endorsements and you know you're happy with it, but you're not being endorsed for a particular skill that you wish you were being endorsed for, you can add a skill. So we have all these endorsements and many skills below that, and then you can just easily click on add skill, and it will populate that skill on your profile. And you can also delete skills. So let's just say you didn't, startups or coaching is not a skill that I really feel strongly about for myself. I can just click on the little X and click on save, and it's gone. And you can also reorder your skills by just dragging them around. So if you want something that appears at the bottom to be at the top, you can go ahead and move those around. Okay, but recommendations, on the other hand, are more significant. They're like the old-fashioned letter of recommendation. You used to, apply for a job and had to have a few, written letters of recommendation. Those are not easily obtained. You have to put some effort into it. And so recommendations are important on LinkedIn. So people like to look for recommendations and they'll read them. And so you want to make sure that you have at least 2 or so. You can manage the whole recommendation process through LinkedIn, but I would recommend a combination of, kind of in-person discussion and then also using LinkedIn. So what you might do is call up a colleague or a client or someone that is appropriate and ask them, hey, would you mind writing a recommendation for me? And they'll, and you give them an out. Say, I totally understand if you're not comfortable or you're too busy or whatever it might be. We haven't worked together in a number of years. So make sure they have a graceful way to say no to you. But they, chances are you're going to approach someone for a recommendation that really probably would do it for you. And then I would also ask them, would you like me to put together some bullets? So so that it makes writing the recommendation easier for them. So they're going to compose this recommendation, and then they have to upload it into LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn will send it to you, and you can review it. You can't change it, but you can make the decision to display it on your profile or not. So if it's a really good recommendation, then you're probably going to want to display it. If it's a lukewarm recommendation, then probably don't display it. But you can also offer to write, the person that wrote your recommendation, offer to write them one as well. It's a nice thing to offer. So it's right on your profile. You're going to click on Ask to be Recommended. That's going to take you to this screen where this is where you can see what recommendations you've received, what you've given. You can ask for recommendations or give a recommendation. And then you can choose which position you want to be recommended for. And then next you choose the person. But you do want to have that kind of in-person discussion before you start this process, just to make sure nobody's caught off guard. And you're approaching someone who's willing to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make recommendations for as many people as you want. Is that what you're asking? Oh, meaning, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's go back here. So these are, yeah, so the question was, and I'm actually not sure what the question is. Okay, all right, so write down.
Here today at U.S. Computer Connection, but we're going to take those questions at the end because we realize our webinar participants can't really hear the questions. So we're going to address the live questions at the end.
Okay, yeah, let's just make sure we write that down. So one of the key elements of LinkedIn that many people are not aware of and do not use is the advanced search. Advanced search is an incredibly powerful way to find people that could be good prospects for your company. So if you are, if you have a kind of a target market, you can turn to LinkedIn and give it some information, and LinkedIn will come back with a list of people that meet that criteria. So it could be a particular company, it could be a particular job title like VP of Marketing, it could be a particular industry, however you would approach your marketing and your prospecting, kind of get that information organized and then go into LinkedIn, and I'll show you how to use the advanced search feature. Okay, so this is, I'm on my LinkedIn homepage. Up at the top, you see that search box, and on to the right of it, you see the word advanced. So we're going to click on the word advanced, and then it's going to take us to this default kind of landing page where it has a whole bunch of, 2,900,000 results. So we obviously need to narrow that down. So we're going to click on the word advanced, which is over on the left-hand side. And then it opens up this window where you can put in any kind of words that you want to narrow your search. So you could put in, if you're looking for a particular person, you can put their name in. If you're looking for a particular company, you can put that in, or a title, or even a keyword. And so fill that information in. You can also say, I only want people who have first-degree connections with me or second-degree connections, whatever, or just leave that open. So you're going to, yeah. So for example, let's just say I put in the company Microsoft. Let's say Microsoft is on our prospect list. They're not, but let's just say they are. I'm just putting Microsoft, the company, and then I'm going to narrow the location to just within 10 miles of White Plains. So that you can do that. It's further down on the screenshot, but that's where you would put your kind of your targeting by location. And then LinkedIn is going to come back with results. And here's someone, Jason Alvarez. There's 2,300 results, but at the top is Jason Alvarez, and it looks, LinkedIn tells me that I have 23 shared connections. So that's a lot. So Jason and I have a lot of LinkedIn connections in common. And so if, let's just say Jason was the person that I would want to try and reach. I can look at those shared connections, and right off the bat, I can see that Amir, Michael, and Gina, I know them all quite well as business colleagues in Westchester. I could approach them and ask them to make an introduction for me. So rather than me trying to get to Jason, kind of, calling him up and him not taking my phone call, my next step would be to call Amir or Michael or Gina and say, hey, I really would love to meet Jason at Microsoft. Would you be willing to make an introduction? So to do, change it from a cold call to a warm introduction. And also, again, give the person an out, say, I understand if you're not comfortable making that introduction, I totally get it. I have plenty of other people. If it doesn't make sense for you, I've got other people that I can ask. Right. So then I'm gonna focus in on Mike. And so I could send a message directly to Jason, which I would not recommend because it's going to be a cold message, and he's unlikely to be receptive to my approach. But if I see Michael and I can take a look at Michael's profile if I wanted and send him a message through LinkedIn, but I'm unlikely to do that. So my process would be to find that shared connection and contact him, pick up the phone and call him. Michael, would you mind? Would you be okay introducing me to Jason? I'd love to try and do business with him. And so Mike will say, sure, I'd love to. Or he might say, geez, I haven't spoken to Jason in like 3 years. It'll be really weird. So I'm not comfortable. And then you say, perfectly fine. I'll go on to my next contact. So this is a really cool way to, if you use this kind of consistently, you can, it can really enable and empower your prospecting process. And I've done this many, many times to great success. One example is I had a prospective company that I wanted to do business with. I saw that they had, not a strong social media presence. I looked and found a common connection. I actually had 3 common connections with the owner of the business. I contacted one of them, and she said, oh gosh, I'd love to introduce you to her. And in fact, I'm going to an event with her on Thursday. If you would like to come along, the 3 of us can go to this event together. And it was a networking event. So of course I said yes. And it was wonderful because within 2 days I was having a glass of wine with the owner of this business. So it really works. And so I would highly recommend it as a part of your business development process. You can also, I mentioned you can search on, not necessarily just a company, but you could search on, for example, a job title, VP of Marketing, and then I just hit search, again, keeping the location targeting. And so you can see right here, I have a list of VPs of Marketing that are in their, you can say current position or past position. So you can really kind of narrow it. I only want to talk to people who currently are a VP of Marketing. So this might be something that you do on a regular basis, is kind of do this searching and see what who the shared connections are that you have and try and get those warm introductions. You can also search by keyword. So for example, I just searched on outdoor, meaning outdoor advertising, and within the White Plains area, it's 10 miles of White Plains, and immediately who pops up but Andy, who works for InspiriaMedia, who has a very well optimized LinkedIn profile because he is Director of Outdoor Advertising, and I'm going to show you that little trick of how to appear at the top of those results. And then also I searched on HubSpot, and who pops up but Nick Smard, who's here in the room with us today, because we are a HubSpot agency. So you can see how powerful that is, just the word HubSpot and the location targeting, and we popped up, Nick popped up at the top of the list. But when I did this search before, I'm just gonna back up a little bit here so I can show you something. Sorry. Okay, where is it? Here we go. So I mentioned before that by default, your company appears in your experience, but you see there's a little pencil next to it. You can edit that. It doesn't have to say just your company name. You can also put in a keyword. So when I did the search this morning on HubSpot in White Plains, Nick did not show up in the search results. Nick went in and edited his experience and this company, the way the company was displayed, and we entered HubSpot agency --InspiriaMedia. And then he saved that, and now you can see that he's at the top of the list. So that's a key thing. So if you edit that position, in your experience, edit your company name and put a keyword, whether it's digital, I entered digital marketing, and I popped up. You can see it's kind of current as Director of Digital, but over here, digital marketing --InspiriaMedia, it's kind of cut off, and now I'm at the top of the list. So that's a critically important insider tip that you're going to want to take advantage of right away. So, so just edit the company name on your experience in the experience section of your profile and add a keyword, whatever it is you want to be found for, and you're going to be at the top of the list. So we've been talking about using the advanced search. That's how to search for your best prospects. Give it some thought. Think about positions and titles of the people who are, really in your sweet spot in terms of target market, and run that search. You can actually save the search in LinkedIn. So if you always want to search for title, has the word marketing in it, then you can set up this saved search, and LinkedIn will run it for you and just send you the results. So you don't have to get up every Monday and go to the office and run the same, type in the same thing. LinkedIn will do it for you. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So the process should be come up with a potential list of clients, go through their when you find them on LinkedIn, look at their profile one by one, research. People put up a lot of important information in their LinkedIn profiles, so you're going to want to look at that information before you meet with them. It's a gold mine of information. So you can learn by looking at someone's profile. You can learn if they're going to describe their achievements within their profile. So they may say increased revenue. So that's something that they're proud of. That's something that they're focused on. That's probably how they're measured within their organization. So read their description of how they measure their success, and then you know how to speak to them and how can you help them achieve that goal. So even if it's marketing or it's HR or whatever it might be, technology, really go into the meeting with this person, understanding how they're measured, and explaining how you can help them. You want to make sure, you looked at their prior work, where they worked at a prior company. Do you know anybody at that company? So if they worked at a different organization, they worked at Xerox, go check out Xerox and see if you have any common connections there with this person, to just kind of build up that trust factor, that relationship with someone who you're going to try and want to eventually buy your products or services. And we talked about this a little bit before. You can, you can see what you have in common. So organizations you might have in common. It just gives you, a way to develop your rapport, and look in what's on their mind. So if they're posting on LinkedIn, you have a sense of what they're interested in, what they're talking about on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure that you've looked at what they've posted, you've seen what's on their mind, and even from an individual person's perspective or from their business's perspective. And it's also a way to maybe, eliminate them as a prospect. If you're seeing that they're downsizing, or if you're seeing that they're, for whatever reason, there doesn't seem to be a good fit, then you can, check them off the list. And you haven't wasted any time in terms of, pursuing that person when it isn't a good fit anyhow. So it's a nice way to kind of be efficient in your prospecting process. All right, and also by looking at the person's profile or their company page, you can see some trigger events, and those are kind of important because that may signal that they're in the market for your products or services. So it might be that there's a change in ownership. Maybe that means that they're going to be hiring new vendors. Maybe it's an opportunity for outsourced IT because they've changed management. They've changed the company name. They might need PR help. They've acquired a new company. They merged. They may need help with customer service. They're moving into new markets. They might need my consulting expertise. If they have lots of new job openings, that could indicate expansion and growth and a need for lots of new services. So look for those posts on LinkedIn, and also you could go to the website to see if there are trigger events that might apply to you. You can also kind of think about what would a trigger event be for you. So be proactive and kind of have thought it through. And how could your products or services help? And finding trigger events that will shorten the sales cycle because you're going to get a jump on the competition. Others are not doing this kind of thought, and research. So it gives you like a little bit of an advantage if you are, kind of being proactive on trigger events. So we don't like to talk about selling on LinkedIn, but of course it's a business development tool. So we want to.
There's one question out there about whether or not a person should use the free or the paid version of LinkedIn. So I figured this was a good point to touch on that.
Yeah, I find for most people, the basic version, the free version is just fine. Most people don't use the capabilities that LinkedIn has, even with the free version. So I think if someone is a recruiter or in the process of hiring or a hiring manager, it might make sense to, have that paid version. But for, I'd say, pretty much everybody else, the free version is just fine. So as I said, we don't like to talk about selling on LinkedIn, but it is a business development tool. So you are going to want to, in a very gracious way, try to promote your products and services. As I mentioned, create value, then sell. So you really want to make sure you're expressing the value that you bring to the table that would benefit your prospective clients. So put yourself in your prospect's shoes. Is there something that they need to achieve, some goal? What is it? Focus on helping them. So that's the goal. Throughout all of your interactions on LinkedIn, help people, provide value, then you're going to be respected. When you're getting started with this process, you're going to want to make sure that you have a lot of good content and collateral. So you're going to want to develop an ebook, a video, an article, a blog, interviews, white papers, etc. Whatever would provide value to your prospective clients, and they speak to their needs. So, and then give those away without the expectation of any purchase. So here's an example. A message would be sent to Dr. Smith. Hi, Dr. Smith, I read your profile here on LinkedIn, and I see you have a family dental practice in White Plains. I've helped many hundreds of dentists just like you triple their client base in a very short time period by leveraging social media. I'd like to send you my free report, Top 10 Social Media Strategies for Building Your Dental Practice. There's nothing to buy, no strings attached. Let me know if I can send it to you. Thank you. So ask permission. Don't just blast it out there because you're going to be considered a spammer if you do that. So, and then this person will then give you an indication of where they are. Are they interested in buying services, or are they not? If they respond, then that's a good indication that they're thinking that they might want to grow their practice and that they might need some help. And maybe you triggered something in their mind, like, geez, I've been thinking I wanted to grow my practice, but I'm unsure of how to. So if they respond and they say, yeah, that'd be great, send it along, then that's a fantastic indicator of their interest and if they might be in the buying frame of mind.
Typical yes responses would you get from a campaign like this?
It really varies. I would think maybe 1 out of 10.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so I would definitely, but it also depends on, the industry and who you're trying to reach, et cetera, et cetera. But I would say 1 out of 10 would probably be good. And but it may or may not go any further than that. So they may say, "Oh, I want that book," and then I don't really want your services. But then as a second step, you could contact them and say, I hope you enjoyed the article. Would you like a 20-minute free consultation? I'll take it. I'll look at all your social media, digital marketing, and give you a free bit of a strategy recommendation. And then, and then if they say yes, that's fantastic. So they're giving you even more indication that they're ready to discuss the services. And if they don't respond to this kind of second, touch, then I would say, just go away. Leave them alone. They're not ready. They're not in the right frame of mind. Move on to the next. So this is a kind of a simple way to, reach out to people, see if they're interested, try again. If they're still interested, that you're kind of moving them down through what we like to call the, marketing and sales funnel. So you're seeing that, from kind of having no connection to this person, you're kind of seeing that they're expressing an interest and you're building a relationship with them. And it's worth pursuing them. So building out your network on LinkedIn, it seems pretty straightforward, but you want to reach out and connect with current and past clients, current and past colleagues. I've connected with tons and tons of people that I went to college with through LinkedIn, and it's just been very, very helpful. And always, I would recommend as a best practice, a lot of us are out there, going to networking events, and you come back home that night and you've got 6 business cards in your hand. Sit down and connect with those people on LinkedIn. By them giving their business card to you, they have indicated that they are willing to connect with you. So go on LinkedIn, connect with them, and in your connection request, say, great to meet you tonight at the Business Council of Westchester networking event. I'd love to continue our conversation. I'll reach out to you, so hopefully we can schedule time to get together next week for coffee. So you're going to build that, they'll become a connection, and that, people often ask me, should I have a whole bunch of connections or not? I think that having a larger network allows you to take better advantage of that advanced search feature, because you're going to have more common connections to people that you may want to meet. So having those common connections can really give you a greater sense of influence on LinkedIn. But again, you want to be selective. You don't just accept everyone's connection request for the sake of it. Assess the value. So is that person going to help you in some way? When someone sends you a connection request, really just assess it from your own perspective. Will this person help me grow? Will this person help my business? And if the answer is yes, go ahead and connect with them. If the answer is no, or it's someone that you have, they're from India or some other country that it's really has the appearance of being spammy, then I would just don't connect with them. Posting on LinkedIn is important. It's a way to keep your visibility up. So part of LinkedIn is building connections. Another part of LinkedIn is having your brand and your personal brand be visible. So you're going to want to post on a regular basis.
Participant was looking to get people to notice their company page, then they would want to post from their company page to get people to notice them?
Well, when you post on your company page, it only goes to the people that are following you. So that's there's not a lot of critical mass around people following company pages. Large organizations like Microsoft and, MasterCard have thousands of people following them, but your average small, medium-sized business in this area just probably won't have that many people following their LinkedIn company page.
So would a trick be to post it on the company page, but then as a person who follows U.S. Computer Connection, I like and share U.S. Computer's content to my connections,
yes,
right? And then I ask other people who have large followers on LinkedIn to do the same. So that's another way to attack it.
Typically, what we'll do is if we're managing social media for a company, we will create a very good, rich article, post it on the company page as the business, and then share it out to the business owner's personal profile. We might share it out to many people. We could share it out to, the president of the company, the CMO, and the director of digital, and the director of creative director. So share that same article out. You don't want to have too many people in the organization have it shared to their profile, because then there could be overlap, and that looks a little not so great. So, post it to the company page and then share it out to the individual business owner's personal profile.
So to clarify, a couple people are asking, you want to post it on your company page, but then as an employee, like for example, Cynthia, you're following your company, you're going to share that post from your company out to your followers.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't
right.
want to post it on both pages. You want to post it on one and then share it from the individuals or the key employees of that company.
That's
Is
right.
that the advice?
That's a great approach. Yep.
And then, we always have a security question. Ruben is wondering whether or not you can get a virus through LinkedIn. And the answer there is no, although recently it was said that there were some imposter profiles going up and blanketing LinkedIn subscribers to connect with them. So I think that's what you're, and they would then be sharing bad links. So the advice, Ruben, that Bridget touched upon earlier is if someone asks you to connect, you need to look at that person's profile. And for example, there's no picture, it's somebody who maybe English isn't their first language, they're from Nairobi, or, not to highlight any one country, but from a foreign country, you're not going to be doing business with them. So the answer is no. You really want to be selective in who you connect with. People people you've met, or they know someone and they say, hey, Ruben, I don't know you, but Gary Feldman told me that we should connect. Right. Gary, so via Gary, you'd be okay with connecting with me.
Right. Another strategy, and I'm pretty sure you can do this still with LinkedIn, is if you get a connection request from someone and you're kind of on the fence, like you don't know, you might know them, they appear to be legit, but you're not 100% sure, you can send a message back to that person and say, how do we know each other? And then if they might respond back and say, oh, Nancy Haddad at U.S. Computer suggested that I reach out to you because we have blah, 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 we have things in common. So then you're like, oh gosh, I'm glad I didn't just say no to that person outright. So it's legitimate and a-okay to respond back and say, how do we know each other? Or why, just you could phrase it in a different way, but the essence is why are you trying to connect with me? Good. So, posting regularly. When you post, your content goes to all the people that are following you. So you're going to appear in their newsfeed on LinkedIn. So that's a great thing. Posting regularly shows the value that you bring. You can post up to a couple times a day. I mean, that's probably way too much for most of us. We're probably too busy to manage that. But probably once a week would be a good strategy. But make sure it's, LinkedIn is all business. So you're not going to post about the baseball game, and you're not going to post about, the fun thing that you did over the weekend. It's going to be about something about you, your company, your brand, and the value that you bring.
Quick question here. If to be a good sort of citizen on LinkedIn, it's nice to like content or post that's been valuable.
Yep.
And then likewise, people will like and kind of give you a high five on yours. Advice, information about your field.
Right? Yeah, good segue to this slide. So you're going to want to share helpful information. So links to articles. Here's a great article that I saw in the Wall Street Journal about, why outsourcing IT is, perfectly, appropriate for a certain size business. And case studies that you've developed for your website will draw people back to your website. Upcoming events are perfectly appropriate for LinkedIn. Let people in your network know about the event. You can also stir people's curiosity. So for example, read this case study to see how one company increased customer-client loyalty by 20%. So that's going to be something that's of interest to people. Like, wow, that sounds intriguing, and a lot of it has to do with the title, but it's also people love to know, to learn more. Announce business events, people mergers and acquisitions, and alert people to big events, successful events that your company have made, or upcoming events that like trade shows and other things that you might be out in a big industry specific event. You can let them know we're going to be at booth 141, so swing by and visit. Company pages. So company pages, use them to create opportunities. So you want to, you can look at your target market's company page and see, look at their company, their employees' profiles. When you go to a company page, let's say you're prospecting a particular company, you look at their business page on LinkedIn, what they're posting about is what's going to be on their mind. So you can get a lot of intelligence that way. And you can see that they might be acquiring or merging, and you can research your own competitors. So let's say, you know, we might, InspiriaMedia might go onto LinkedIn and look at our direct competitors and see what they are posting on LinkedIn and just get a sense of what's happening in their business, or maybe they're not posting on LinkedIn and we could kind of jump ahead of them in that area. So it's a good way to kind of do some sleuthy research on your competitors and see what they're talking about. It's also a good way to stay current in your field. I love to have, you know, if we're working with a local restaurant and we look at, you know, some sort of really high profile restaurant, what they're posting, you know, something, you know, 4-star restaurant in the city, we look and see how they're managing their social media. We get a really good, you know, we get a lot of creativity and lots of cool ideas from that. So go ahead and look at the leading companies in your industry, see what they're posting and see how you can adapt that to your company. Yeah, and again, we talked about this before. Use LinkedIn. What you see on LinkedIn is talking points when you're meeting with target clients. And this is just an example of a company business page. You want to make sure you have a nice big image. Just like all the other social media platforms now, LinkedIn allows you to put a nice big image. We have, you know, kind of the 3 main points of the values that we bring. We help with outdoor advertising, inbound marketing, and creative, meaning websites, etc. And we have our mission statement there. And if the screenshot was bigger, you would see the articles that we post. So it's a nice way to go. You know, we have 172 followers, which I think is quite good, given, you know, that's probably more than the average for small medium-sized business. So, you know, this is what you don't have the opportunity to put very much information on your company page, just like your industry, the size of the company, and some services. So it's not really going to be like a website, but it is a presence, and that's important for all businesses on LinkedIn. And you do have analytics. That's a little blurry, but you can see analytics for your LinkedIn company page. So you can see, you know, how many people saw your articles, how many people clicked on them, and how many people shared. You can also see a report that tells you the job title of the person that saw your page. So you'll see, you know, owner, VP, CEO, you know, employee, which is kind of cool. It gives you a little insight onto who might be coming and looking at your content. Groups are important. People on LinkedIn self-select into groups that are of interest to them, either by industry or you know, some other you know, idea. There's a group for every industry, so you just have to go out and find it. It's a great way to interact with colleagues. So it's going to be primarily people that do what you do. For the most part, you can join groups that would consist of clients, but you really have to be careful there. You don't want to appear to be someone who's intruding, and it has to be a natural fit. But if you are going to be active in a group, you want to make sure that you're adding value, posting articles. Groups are a great place to ask questions too, like, has anybody come across this issue? And then you'll get a ton, you know, depending on the size of the group and the interaction, you'll get some good answers there. One thing to note though is, by default, you're going to get messages from groups that you belong to. So every day you're going to say, so-and-so posted in this group. So, you know, so it can be overwhelming. And I found that I was getting too much in my inbox from LinkedIn. So I shut that off. So you just go to settings and group communication, and you can shut off, you know, getting those notices from LinkedIn. But that means that if you are interested in the group, you have to go to LinkedIn and check in and read what's being posted. But it's also a good, you know, groups are great because the groups are allowed to post jobs. So if you're in the job market, join a group. You can see the jobs that are posted there that might not be posted elsewhere on LinkedIn. Yes, in a group. Yes. Yep. And it gives you a good opportunity to listen and learn, you know, what problems are there out there in the world that you might be able to help with. And when you go to the search box, to that little kind of gray area, you see where there's like 3 people kind of squished together. it has a little upside down triangle next to it. You can just click on that, and that's a drop down, and you can select that the 3 people indicates groups. And so then type in your keywords. So I typed in social media, and you can see that there's a whole bunch of groups that I belong to. And then this one, this SEO, SEM social media, I do not belong to. So I'm going to click on join. And then depending on how selective they are, they may or may, obviously I would be probably welcome into this group, but some groups are kind of picky, so they may or may not let you in. You'll get notified once you're allowed in or not. There's something called a long form published post on LinkedIn. So everybody knows you can share an update. Just go to your profile, click on share an update, and post an article. If you're someone who blogs or writes content or articles, you can also add that article to LinkedIn. So just over on the right-hand side, you're going to click on write an article, and then you're going to put that information in, and it becomes like a blog article within LinkedIn. And it then gets also, once you post it, it gets attached to your personal profile. So it's almost like you're building up a little, portfolio of articles that you've written. So it's a nice way to build, kind of share it on LinkedIn, but get a little bit more value out of it, because LinkedIn does optimize, does kind of scan that article and read for keywords. So it's if you're creating content anyhow, it makes sense to put it up as a long form published post. People in your network can, if they see your long form published post, they can follow you to get those posts on a regular basis. And the post is searchable both on and off of LinkedIn. So if Google may come and index your article, and then you'd appear in the Google search results. You should share about your professional experience, challenges you face, etc., to really add value again. And just a little tip, many people don't know that you can download your connections on LinkedIn. So you're going to go to linkedin.com/people/export settings, export-settings, and then it takes you to this page, and you can download all of your connections to a CSV file, and that includes their email address. So it's kind of interesting data that you don't want to misuse it, but it's also, you're connected to them on LinkedIn, so you could very well take that file and upload it into your constant contact, and then you would have a little disclaimer at the bottom: you're receiving this because you agreed to be a connection of mine. And so it's just some a little added value from LinkedIn, and that you can get a hold of that data. And it does put in more than just your email address. It has job title and other things. And LinkedIn Sales Navigator, so that's the paid version of LinkedIn. It really helps. It can help sales professionals build relationships. It has a lot of functionality behind it. There's lead recommendations. You can get real-time sales updates on prospects, etc. It's $80 a month per person, so it's not inexpensive. You really have to. I would do an assessment of it, make sure it's dig in and find out if it's right for you, depending on your job. Okay. Any other questions that have not been asked? I know there was a question earlier on. Okay. Anything else coming through?
No.
Okay. All right. So I think we are done. Oops. Sorry. Yes.
U.S. Computer Connection. We appreciate everybody dialing in. We hope this was helpful. Just a reminder, every month we offer free training webinars. They're listed on our website at uscomputer.com. And if you have any issues with your IT network that you'd like us to talk about, you can contact me via my email address there. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, sorry. And yes, sorry. And thank you also from InspiriaMedia Group. We offer a complimentary 20-minute digital and inbound marketing assessment. So if that's of interest to you, don't hesitate to email me at bgibbons@inspiriamedia.com.
Feel free to reach out via LinkedIn.
Yeah, there you go. Oh,
it's a great way to connect.
that
All right,
tool.
everybody, have a good afternoon, and thanks.
Thank you so much.